So, comic book and movie fun fact. But did you guys know that there was going to be a Spider-Man movie sometime back in the 1990s that was live action? It's true. Spider-Man almost got a live action movie sometime back in the 1990s, but it didn't get greenlit. Marvel had their problems here and there, and well, unfortunately, it did not get made for XYZ reasons. But hey, yeah, Spider-Man almost got his own movie directed by James Cameron. You heard me correctly. James Cameron, the same man responsible for directing movies such as the Avatar movies and Titanic. He actually had plans and a script ready for a Spider Man movie that he was planning to direct sometime back in the 1990s. Now, this would have been like a very brutal kind of superhero movie. This would have been like a very rated R kind of Spider Man, and it would have starred Leonardo DiCaprio, aka Jack Dawson himself, to play the character. You heard me correctly. Leo was gonna play the webhead. It is I, Dr. Ironbat Prime 2.0. I'm back again with a new video, and I'm gonna give you guys the full story and details of what this Spider-Man movie would have been like back in the 1990s. Now, before I begin, roll my title card, and well, let's begin on talking about what this movie would have been like, and would I see it, would I not see it? Let's talk about it, shall we? So the movie opens up with James Cameron describing Peter Parker as a weak virgin who still lives with his aunt and uncle. And believe me, that's kind of sort of what he wanted to go for. He wanted to go for realism with this movie. But also, one of the things that also changed up from comics to his variation, instead of scientists experimenting with spiders, scientists are experimenting with radioactive fruit flies, and one of those fruit flies ends up in a spider web, gets eaten by the spider, and that spider becomes, genetically enhanced and superpowered, of course. And I'm pretty sure you can take a guess on what happens next. That spider, of course, bites Peter Parker, and he, of course, starts to develop his powers. But the next day, he's not feeling so well. So, yeah, that spider bite is pretty much going to give him his powers and abilities. So for like a couple days, he wakes up in a very strange situation. Like he's on top of a building in his underwear, and there's also, of course, him waking up in his bed, but there's a lot of webbing all over the place. In other words, James Cameron wants to go for, Peter having organic webbing, which is, of course, something that we've seen Tobey Maguire have, and Tom Holland recently had in his recent movie. Again, he wanted to go for realism, like this is organic webbing in the body, and a teenager can't really build web shooters. So that's what James Cameron wanted to go for. So he is, of course, developing his powers, and Peter is trying to test them out. But there would also be a scene in the movie where, he's jumping on rooftops, testing out his abilities, and there was also one part where he looks through a window and sees Mary Jane Watson. And let's just say he was being a bit of a stalker for that scene. But he really wants to impress Mary Jane, so he makes a costume where he wants to, raise money to take her out for dinner and just impress her with a car and also take care of his uncle. So I'm pretty sure you could take a guess on what happens next. He ends up going in the streets and just performing, acting like a weirdo, yes, of course, while wearing blue and red spandex, which is what the audience is going to see. But there's also some people there that want to make him an offer, make him a deal, and he would, of course, end up on TV. And after his talk show on a TV, he, of course, starts winning a lot of money, but things start to go sideways, of course. And I'm pretty sure you know what's going to happen next. Uncle Ben drives Peter to the location where he's going to pick up his money, things didn't go well, so the man who ended up stealing the money just walks by Peter Parker. Peter ignores him, and then after that, the death of Uncle Ben happens. Keep in mind, that's something that always happens when it comes to the world of Spider-Man, so of course James Cameron has to include that in in his own movie. So of course Peter slash Spider-Man would of course apprehend him, but instead of just bringing him to justice, he does of course bring him to the cops, but the cops are not really sure how they feel about this. And let's just say things get out of hand, and Spider-Man ends up beating up the cops. So pretty much kind of like Batman, where he's a lot more brutal and he will not hold back. So yeah, he starts to get rough with cops. So later on after that, Peter slash Spider-Man would of course continue on his hero journey of not just catching thugs, but there would also be times where he would be beating up cops. So yeah, this would have been a very brutal Spider-Man, but apparently someone has caught his eye, and that is of course Electro, who would have been revealed to be the main villain of the movie, who has total control over electricity, controlling stocks and banks and making him rich, and Sandman would be his henchman. So he would pretty much be keeping an eye on Spider-Man here and there, but also in the background of the story, where we focus on Peter Parker, him and MJ would end up doing a science project together, but they would of course be experimenting and talking about doing science work on spiders because, Mary Jane wants an A+, so she can get a car from her parents, and Peter just wants to learn more about spiders, just so he can learn more about his powers and abilities and what he's able to do. But then later on, of course, MJ would develop feelings for Peter, and Flash Thompson would of course get jealous, and he would also just abuse MJ. So Peter of course comes across that stalking MJ like always in this story, but not only he would come across Flash, he would pretty much beat the crap out of him, along with beating up some thugs that were chasing down Mary Jane. And as you can assume, apparently MJ and Spidey would of course have that iconic kiss moment. So after they would go swinging around here and there across the city, they would of course go right on top of the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. And let's just say, as for what happens next, it starts to turn into the definition of 50 Shades of Grey. But also, Electro, of course, is still just has eyes everywhere, along with having connections to cameras. So not only he stumbles across Mary Jane and Spider-Man having their moment, but there would also be a part in the movie where Electro and Sandman are, of course, going to kidnap Mary Jane, which obviously is going to set up the plots for, the final battle. And that final battle would, of course, take place on top of the World Trade Center / the Twin Towers. Now keep in mind that this was before the events of 9/11, so yeah, again, this would have been in the 90s, those buildings were still standing, and again, this was before 9/11 happened, and RIP to that, of course. But yeah, there was a lot of movies that really wanted to use those buildings for just a dozen movies here and there. So of course, Peter / Spidey would have his battle with Electro and Sandman, but Sandman would end up turning into glass because of the electricity and because of what Electro's powers were. But there also would have been a part where Electro was just shocking and killing and bringing and Mary Jane back to life. It's a very unpleasant way on how he does it, just by just killing her and then shocking her, bringing her back to life. It would have been on and off, but Spider-Man would start to get a lot more brutal, and yeah, he probably would have been swearing up a storm and would keep on beating the living crap out of Electro. So Electro's down, Spidey saves MJ. As for how the movie ends, Peter and MJ, of course, win A+'s in their science work, and not only Mary Jane starts to fall in love with Peter, but starts to recognize that Peter is Spidey because of their kissing moments. I mean, it's kind of sort of obvious, so, that's just what James Cameron wanted to do for, like realism, but also guessing, and she just figured it out. And, well, of course, they would go their separate ways into different colleges, but probably be in a long distance relationship. But in a way, that's how the movie would have ended. But there would probably be, well, a quickie little teaser of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he, of course, would have been revealed to be Doc Ock for the next movie, setting up the sequel. And that about wraps up like the whole story of what James Cameron's Spider-Man movie would have been like. Again, this would have been in the 90s. I did leave some things out here and there, but I will leave a couple of links down below so you could see like more details and see the full story of why this film didn't get made and just other things here and there about it. But I will admit, this would have been a rated R Spider-Man film, and I will admit, I'm a diehard fan of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is like one of my favorite superheroes, favorite characters in world fiction. Heck, he's my number one favorite Marvel character, Marvel hero, and, well, hence my Spidey shirt, hence my Marvel hat, and, well, right here in the corner of my shelf, I got a Spider-Verse collection. And if you see my videos, of course, I have a lot of Spidey videos out there, well, here and there on my channel. But again, Spider-Man is just one of my favorite superheroes, and him having a rated R movie, I would like to see that happen. I mean, yes, I know Spider-Man is like, well, the target audience is supposed to be for like PG-13 or PG. You want to make sure he's friendly, and that's just the definition of what Spider-Man is. But hey, I wouldn't mind like if James Cameron made this happen. I mean, it's probably too late now, but hey, he still has a script and he would still like to make it happen. I mean, if they want to, they could make it into a comic book, or maybe see if Leonardo DiCaprio and the cast and crew could like do some voice acting work to make it animated. Again, this is a Spider-Man movie that would have been made like years and years ago. I still wouldn't mind if they, well, had the time, money, effort to just make it happen, but hey, I'd like to see what it would have been like. But in a way, there were some elements of this film that actually made its way into Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie when they started to film and make the movie happen in 2002. Sure, I will admit, it wouldn't be a box office hit, it wouldn't make millions. I don't know what it would have been like 100%, but hey, I would love to see how James Cameron's Spider-Man movie would have turned out. And believe me, there is quite a list of Spider-Man movies that didn't really get made. This is one that I do wish could have been made, but hey, who knows? Maybe one of these days it could possibly happen. But thank you guys so much for watching this video of mine. This is a lot more different than other Spidey videos I've done and other videos I've done in the past, but thank you guys so much for watching. So wrapping up this video of mine, don't forget to subscribe to the channel by hitting subscribe right down there, along with hitting the bell down there so you're notified for my next video. But also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. That would be very supportive. And comment below. Let me know what you thought of this video and what you thought of well, James Cameron's Spider-Man film. But also, don't forget to follow me on all my social media. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all my social media is just right here. But till next time, webheads, this is your friendly neighborhood, Dr. Iron Bat Prime 2.0, out and about, and catch your webheads in my next video.